Welcome to the show Gold Squadron Gays. It's the podcast where two Star Wars loving gays talk about and review their favorite Star Wars content while also being gay as hell. I'm your host, Bradley Brower.
I'm your other host, Charles Rogers. Bradley's in his hotel room, and so he's going to sound a little bit weird for the next
I'm gonna sound weird. I'm gonna look weird because I can't quite figure out the green screen anymore in this lighting. So I guess I just have perfect lighting.
Honestly,
in my room at home. So
here's the thing, Bradley, is that the lighting on your face looks great.
Right.
It's doing some incredible favors. It's literally got like 3-point lighting set up that we learned about in film class.
Film class, yes.
Like it looks great. And
Love
then
that.
the background is just the most boring fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It's a white wall and a lamp.
Me just trying to come up with some design plot. It's not me. It's just a random hotel room. But they tried.
And if you want to see the beautiful 3-point lighting on Bradley's face, you can go to patreon.com/Gold Squadron Gays. And for $3 a month, just $3 a month, less than the price of overpriced coffee, you can get extended versions of these episodes, including our pre-episode banter and the video versions with all of the stuff left in when I go on a long, ridiculous tangent, which I don't think I will this week.
I hope you don't, because if you do, it's going to be about how annoying this book series is. But
oh boy, yes. Well, let's get into
maybe I'll get into a tangent. But we'll see.
Maybe you'll get into a tangent about the experience of every Star Wars scholar should read these books at least once, if only so you can say you did it at parties. What are we talking about this week? We are talking about actually, Bradley, because I forced you to do it. Why don't you tell the audience what we're talking about for the next 3 weeks while you're starting your job stuff that you can't talk about, and I am getting ready for this convention.
Charles decided to make me read a nonsensical book series that we're starting. Today we're going to be talking about the first 2 books in the series. The series is dubbed the Jedi Prince. That is the name of the entirety of the 6 novels. And then the first 2 books are The Glove of Darth Vader and The Lost City of the Jedi. Is that what it?
Lost City of the Jedi. Yeah, buddy.
Okay, great.
We're doing Glove of Darth Vader for realsies, not as a joke.
Not as a joke. Well, I mean, it is a joke because this book is a joke, but we'll get into
the books are ridiculous, and we'll get into them.
Yes. But yes, I'm gonna, so just for a quick little preface, how we're gonna set up these episodes, we're gonna do 3 total. There are 6 novels. There are 7 chapters each. They are basically kid books. So we're gonna split each episode up into 2 books because that's just the best way to kind of do it.
And I do want to say that if you are curious about these books yourself, I have reread the first 3 in preparation for this. Bradley will get to how he read them in a minute, but I actually found them on the Internet Archive. You can sign up for the Internet Archive. It's archive.org. It is a free place that archives old books and things. You can find it on there. It'll make you create an account, but I was able to just do it with my Google account. And I was able to read them for free on the Internet Archive because they are stored on there. There's no real official place to get them, but that was how I managed to track them down, was on the Internet Archive. At least the first 3 books are on there. But Bradley had a slightly different experience, didn't you, Bradley?
Yes. So I guess I don't know if I've ever told the story on the podcast, but it's one of I've only owned 2 Star Wars books in my entire life, owned, like a hard copy version. And one of those books I'm pretty sure I bought both of them around the same time. The first one was Attack of the Clones, the novelization, because I think I was at maybe BJ's or Costco or whatever as a kid, and I saw it after the movie came out and thought, I can read that as a child. Yeah, no, that's not for kids. Not for kids.
No, it is not.
Don't let your
it is definitely
14-year-old read that.
This I don't know. I read it at what age would I have been when I read this? I'm pretty sure I read it when the movie came out.
No, that's about like when I saw. I think
So
the
I would
movie
have been
either was
like
already coming out.
11.
Yeah, so I was even
I would have
younger.
been like
So there you
11. So you would have been even younger. You would have
go.
been like, because I think you're 3 years younger than me, 3 or 4
Yeah.
years younger than me.
So
So
imagine me trying to read that
you were too fucking young for
at
that
like
book.
basically 8 years old.
What was the other book?
The other book was The Glove of Darth Vader,
Of course.
which I don't know where I came across this book, how I got it. I'm just assuming because it said Star Wars on it, I just either my mom bought it or something where it was like, oh, this is a thing he would like, and I just had it. Did I ever finish it? No. Do I remember things as I was reading it this time? Yes. I don't know if there was just like something buried deep down in the recesses of my brain that I knew about space whales and a guy with a third eye and a glove at the bottom of the ocean. Like, I don't know. I feel like I knew all this stuff just preemptively, but I didn't know. Like, I never really read it.
And now you have.
And now I have, and I am not better for it.
So I thought now would be a good time to actually sort of explain why everybody in our generation feels like they've read at least the first book. And it has to do sort of when it came out because I also, when I was a kid, owned the first two books, Glove of Darth Vader and Lost City of the Jedi. I was able to read the others at least once, but those were the two I've owned, so those were the two I've read a lot. So I want to give a very brief, and I mean very brief, we do not have time for me to dive deep into this. Off
Right.
the top of my head, history of Star Wars publishing before 1992. So when the original Star Wars movie came out in 1977, they had the novelization, which came out in 1976. And then in 1977, Marvel started publishing an adaptation of the movies, a 6-part adaptation of the movie, and then just kind of kept going. The Marvel run just continued, and they didn't know what the other movies were going to be. So it's insane shit that has like nothing to do with the movies. They had a whole arc between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back that they had to just abruptly end, then do Empire Strikes Back, then do a whole nother one like between Empire and Jedi. They didn't really know how long it was going to be between Empire and Jedi. They didn't know any of this. So they're just throwing insane stuff at the walls. They had Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which is the very famous like treatment for a sequel to Star Wars if Harrison Ford didn't agree to do it again. That got released as a novel. But other than that, Star Wars publishing wasn't really like a thing. There was other visual media, and I think there might have been video games in the late 80s, but I don't know. I didn't double check that. But in 1991, and I've been saying 96 for years, so I need to correct myself. It's 91 that this happens. Heir to the Empire comes out. And Heir to the Empire is a big fucking deal. They marketed the shit out of Heir to the Empire because it was holy shit. They made official sequels to Star Wars. Everyone was going crazy because they wanted to find out what happened. They wanted to find out what the next chapter of the story. George was sort of on the fence about whether or not he wanted to make more movies, and Heir to the Empire, like the smash success of that was one of the things that convinced him, like, oh, there actually is a market for more of these movies. And originally Zahn was told do sequels. There was sort of a ban on people doing prequel stories, which is kind of relevant to this. Jedi Prince comes out in 1992. And it is one of the first sort of books to come out. And it's also aimed at kids who are the target audience for Star Wars. Because things like Jedi Apprentice and Jedi Quest and all that wouldn't start coming out until like The Phantom Menace started having tie-in material. These books became very proliferated because they were some of the only Star Wars books in existence. So if you were a parent and you were buying your kids books and you grabbed a Star Wars book, it was probably these, which is why I feel like everybody who grew up in our generation had copies of at the very least the first book. Also, for reasons we will get to as the series progresses, the broader expanded universe when it did coalesce, because I argue the expanded universe as a thing didn't really coalesce until 1999 when Vector Prime came out. When it coalesced, it kind of ignored most of this.
Okay.
For reasons you will see as we get deeper into the series.
Got it.
that they didn't want anything to do with the stuff that was established in this. So there's your brief history.
Okay, I love it. Let's get into it.
So I'm going to very off the cuff recap these books because listeners may want to listen to the
Sure.
episode and they may not want to read these books. They're ridiculous. I highly recommend actually reading them.
I was gonna say also pause the episode and finish the first book. It's literally 7 chapters. I think it's a max of 50 pages, if that. I don't even think it's 50. I think it's like maybe 30 pages.
It takes me about 30 minutes to read one of these books.
Yeah.
If
So
if you
go
have
ahead
the
and read it.
capacity to get them and
Yes.
read them, go read them first, then
Right.
come back. But I also understand that people may want to listen to the episodes. Also, Bradley may need a recap of what fucking happened in these books.
Yeah, honestly, because it does get a little convoluted plot-wise, so you may need
It's
to,
wildly convoluted.
which I don't understand if it's only 7 chapters. Okay, anyway,
I
just go
don't
ahead
know
and
how. So we'll
give me
start.
the
We'll start
recap
with.
of the
We'll
first
start
one.
with talking about the Glove of Darth Vader, which is the first book in these series. So the Glove of Darth Vader. This plot is completely off the cuff. I did not take notes. So the Rebel Alliance, after defeating the Empire at the Battle of Endor, has set up shop at Yavin 4 for some reason, and they have established the Senate Planetary something. It's called SPIN in the book. Senate Planetary Intelligence Network, I think is the name of it. This book fucking loves stupid acronyms.
Yes.
Like this whole series loves stupid acronyms. So they've established SPIN, which is this sort of provisional council, and SPIN sends R2 and 3PO to Kessel, where there are rumors that there's going to be like a new emperor that is announced. So they go to Kessel, and it turns out that this Grand Council of Moths has put forward the Emperor's secret three-eyed son, who is actually the slave lord Trioculus of Kessel. And Trioculus proves his power by electrocuting some dudes who tell him to fuck off. R2 and C3PO escape. Turns out that a couple things are going on here. Firstly, Trioculus does not have the Force. He's got like shit embedded in his fingers that lets him do force lightning without actually doing force lightning. And everybody's in a tizzy because there's this whole other warlord who's got a fleet. And there's this group called the Prophets of the Dark Side. And the Prophets of the Dark Side have said that whoever the next emperor is going to wear the glove of Darth Vader. Cool. We got to find this glove before the bad guys do. Long story short, Han Solo fucks off to build his Barbie dream house. I'm not making this element of the plot up. It's so random. He literally has a moment where he steps out of the meeting and goes, well, I'm going to build my Barbie dream house now. And then he fucks off and does it. And he's gone for the rest of the book. So Luke and Admiral Akbar wind up on Calamari, which is the name of the planet that he's from. It's called Calamari in the book. And they discover that, oh no, there are evil whalers who are upsetting the ecosystem by capturing the whales. And that's bad for a reason. But there's this big white whale that's going to like asks for help. And they're like, we'll totally help you. But they're also looking for the glove of Darth Vader. So they go down into the bottom of the ocean. Trioculus, the bad guy, winds up finding the glove because they have this giant whale capturing submarine. But then they blow up the submarine and they free all the whales. But Trioculus escapes with the glove of Darth Vader and he's going to be the emperor now. And then they go to a ballet and the book ends. That's my off the cup.
That's 30 pages, by the way. That's like not even
that was
like
all happened in like not that long. I think the
not
book
that
is like 60 pages long.
yeah, it can't be more than 50. I swear. Because there's also
There's
randomly
illustrations.
there's illustrations, there's also a glossary in the back. Like there's all kinds like because I don't know if you have that in your copy, but I have the physical copy.
I
So
did. They have a glossary. What I saw scans of a library book
of the
version
library book. Yeah.
of it. And yeah, it had the glossary.
Yep.
It had an entire preview of a totally separate book series called Galaxy of Fear, which was a series of horror novels. So I would say only about 60% of this book is the actual book.
Right. It's so strange.
So, Bradley, what did you think of the Glove of Darth Vader, aka Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home?
I just okay. The convoluted. Okay, I'm gonna go down. I literally have notes for every chapter. Okay,
So we've
so
we've switched places, listeners,
yeah.
because I'm doing the recaps and Bradley took a note.
I literally every time I finished a chapter, so this is my process. I want everybody to know my process. So I don't read physical books, right? That's not my thing anymore. I'm very big on audiobooks. That's my shtick. Well, guess what? They don't make audiobooks for shitty little kid books from the 90s. So this book I got at a secondhand bookstore. I got the omnibus. The omnibus has the first three novels in book one and then the second three novels in book two. I have both omnibuses. I paid maybe $5 for both of these books. And it was worth the money because let me tell you, I'm getting 3 for 1 special here in this omnibus. This convoluted story. I see why people don't like Legends anymore because it's just a mess.
To be fair, I gotta defend my Legends here.
Yeah.
Uh, Most of Legends does ignore this, even if Legends is also this complicated at points. It just takes longer to be this complicated.
I'm not downing Legends in general. I actually, funny enough, I actually find this more interesting than a lot of stuff that Star Wars is doing now, only because it's actually quote unquote taking a risk or like actually doing some weird stuff that like I just feel like we don't take risks anymore with writing and
I
television.
Yeah, I would agree with that broadly. I mean, I like the new canon, but it's definitely a different flavor.
Right.
And I think that, my experiences I've been reading through some of the Legends books and comics to get ready for Legacy Expo. One of my experiences has been that a lot of the publishing material in particular for Under the Disney umbrella doesn't really take as much risks, which I think is why the High Republic resonates so much because they're dealing with their own internal characters. Characters are allowed to die or grow or change or significantly alter, as opposed to having a canon character goes on an adventure. And maybe this tells us a little bit about their backstory, but otherwise, maybe we're going to save that for the visual media. That is one of the benefits of reading Legends is that a lot of the story is really contained in the publishing. And it does wild insane shit, particularly pre like again 1999 before we had like a real good idea of what Star Wars was. No one knew what Star Wars in 1992. No one knew what Star Wars was even at this.
Right.
Like, for all I'm down on the Save the Whales plot line, it is so fucking ridiculous that it is kind of amusing to be like, why do we have a random Save the Whales plot in here?
I I
Oh,
don't know why it's in here, but
I forgot to mention, if you're thinking to yourself, dear listener, why is the glove of Darth Vader on calamari when the second Death Star blew up on Endor somehow black hole?
oh right.
That
I
is the
forgot that was a
answer that
plot.
we get. That is the only answer we get in this book. Somehow black holes.
Oh, well, also the main plot point, which is that the glove is indestructible for some
Oh,
reason.
okay. Yes. So Vader's left hand glove is just a normal glove, but they made
Sure.
the right hand glove to be indestructible because it was a symbol of the Empire's power. And this was also the glove that Luke chopped off on the second Death Star and fell down the chute, which is why
Right.
it wasn't burned with Vader on Endor. This plot is
Right.
ridiculous.
It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, and then somehow a black hole sucked it up in outer space and then it pushed it out into the calamari ocean and it sunk to the bottom of the sea. I don't get it, but whatever. Okay, so here's my chapter by chapter notes. Are you ready for this? Because
Give me some notes. Let's see how you do as me this time around.
okay, so I said the forward of the book recaps the entire plot of A New Hope with a tiny ass little section about force prophets for some reason. I don't know why they're here. When did they exist? They weren't even mentioned in the movies. They just exist now. And then also for also the first chapter, I said, why is everyone annoying? Like we remember what we did during this movie? Remember what we did during this movie? All the characters recap all the plots of every movie that exists of Star Wars up until this point. They're like, remember on Cloud City when we did this? Remember when you saved your father, Darth Vader, from turning to the dark side? I'm like, oh my God, I get it. I saw the movies. Okay. That's just chapter one. They do that constantly throughout the book, but that is just chapter one is just for some reason they are sitting around a table. Mon Mothma's there. everybody's there. They're all just talking about shit that they've done in the past three movies, and it's like, okay, great.
My bestie Mon Mothma is such a huge part of these books. Like she shows up constantly.
Yeah, for
It's
no reason.
kind of wild. Like she's just kind of there.
I love it.
Like she's in charge of spin, I guess.
Yeah, she's like the de facto leader of just all of it.
Right.
It's very strange,
It's
but we
very,
gotta keep
very
going.
odd.
We gotta keep going. So
We got to keep going because we have the whole fucking Lost
I,
City of the Jedi to get through. I told you
right.
these episodes we were going to have content for them, Bradley.
I guess so. Another random point. So in chapter two, so the Empire is just evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah.
Because some of the characters are like saying things like dark greetings and like, what the fuck? Huh? It makes no sense. Like, also, is I don't understand, like, from here, since the end of Return of the Jedi to here, like, when we blew up the Death Star, the Empire theoretically is done. Everybody's celebrating at the end, like, oh yeah, there's no more Empire. But then these guys just exist still, and they're just like, nope, the Empire is still a thing.
This is a problem that both canon and legends both had to reconcile with the fact that no, obviously blowing up the Death Star 2 over Endor, while it works well enough for the films to have that be this sort of, yay, the Empire is defeated because it's a mythological story.
Right.
If you're trying to have the story be ongoing, you have to reconcile with the fact that the entire Empire was not present at Endor. And so in canon, this is handled in Aftermath and the current comics that are coming out, sort of showing both timelines kind of had the same thing happen, which is there was this shitload of Imperial warlords that were hanging out, and we had to deal with a lot of those warlords basically one by one, which was really annoying. And then right as we finished dealing with them, Thrawn showed up, and that turned out to be a massive problem. But this is one of the earliest sort of versions of that, where
Okay.
the Empire is still around doing stuff.
For
Like
some
they
reason, yeah.
mention, well, they mention there's a moth that has like this
A whole
fleet,
fleet.
a whole fleet that's just sitting there that he won't pledge to the Council of Moths because their Emperor candidate does not have the glove of Darth Vader.
Right. It's very odd. Speaking of Trioculus, so love the character design. I love the fact that it's just a guy with three eyes for no reason. And then also, I love that one, they make a point to be like, no, he's really handsome. Like he's actually
He's
hot.
so hot.
They're like,
Like,
he's
they
hot.
drive this home. This man is fucking gorgeous.
They're like, he's
This
a
man is
hottie.
hot as hell. And look, the illustrations are kind of dumb, but I'm gonna be real with you. Based on what I've seen in the illustrations, smash.
No, smash. Shout out to Carl Kessel, the interior artist, who does all the little drawings in each page or whatever. So shout out to him. I actually quite enjoy them sometimes.
They are actually, like, unironically really, really good at
If
points.
you watch the regular YouTube version of this episode, I'm using them throughout the whole thing because you don't see our faces, so I'll use them to like go through the episode. So you'll get a taste of some of them. I had to do a lot of screen grabbing, and editing because it's really hard to see the pictures in these screen grabs. But
Look,
yeah,
these episodes are some of the most for the love of the game episodes we are ever going to do. No one is tuning into a podcast episode to listen to us talk about Jedi Prince. That
I'm pretty
doesn't
sure we
already
might
know
be
what it is.
the only YouTube video that exists that probably talks about this subject. I doubt
There
there's
are
that
there
many.
are others. There are others.
Not as in depth as I'm just kidding. No, we're not doing that. Can you imagine if we were like chapter one and then we just
I
like
fucking
broke it
could.
down?
I could do it.
I'm sure you
Well,
could.
it sort of breaks down a little bit because one of the things about these books is that it's very obvious they are for children.
Yeah, it
They
goes
they
through the
are for
plot like lightning.
7-year-old
Yeah.
children. And some of the ridiculousness does come from the fact that, like, there's a period of time, and I'm not going to lay this at these two authors' feet specifically, but I'm going to say that there is a period of time in publishing where children's literature is not treated very well, and that children are kind of assumed to be dumber than they actually are.
Right.
And this is very much a case of where everything is laid out for you because they wrote these books being like 7-year-old boys are going to read this. So one, we have to keep them hooked
Right.
on this. But also two, they're dumb as hell. So we got to make this real fucking easy to understand.
So that leads me to another point. I know, okay, so I know in chapter two, we don't know that Trioculus is not actually Palpatine's son. So I'm going under the premise that I think that he is by this point in the book, based on my notes.
Okay.
I said he got powers, but who the fuck is his mom? So no idea what's
So
going on there
this may be
yet.
a good time to mention that in this book, it is also revealed because this series cannot hold anything back.
Right,
There is an actual three-eyed emperor's son. He
right,
is real. His name is Triclop, and all we know about him so far is he's mentally unwell,
right. He's
and
yeah,
that he has been shifted from asylum to asylum, basically. This book uses really outdated language to talk about a lot of things, especially when we get to some of the stuff that's going to come up later on.
love
But
that.
they basically, he's unwell and they've moved him from institution to institution. So there is a real one. How that real one happened, there are several explanations for.
Great,
It's
love that.
it this may be a good time actually to point out one of the reasons that I had us read these books, Bradley.
Okay,
So the plot element of Emperor Palpatine having biological offspring and not really being sure how that happened. Where have we seen that before? It's the Rise of Skywalker, Bradley,
okay,
with Rey's dad.
right. This
We
is
don't
not
know where the fuck
explained.
he came from.
Right.
It's not
Well,
explained. We don't know where the fuck he came from. There's different versions of it.
yeah,
Well, we know that Dathan was a clone that did
right.
not
He's
have
some kind
force
of clone.
powers.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
He did not have, or he was a strand cast that didn't have
Strandcast is the
force
actual
powers.
term. Yeah.
But there was also a reference book that said that Palpatine tried to have other like kids via natural method. So interpret that for what you will. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they bring that back at some
this
point.
shows up in the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
This idea that Palpatine had like some sort of progeny
Right.
that continued on. We do not know who the mom is. We do not know how that happened. No idea.
Great. Moving on to the whales. So, by chapter four, we are introduced to whalodons, which are whales. I love how the artwork on the cover of the book depicts them as just whales, and the artwork inside the book depicts them as just whales that just happen to live on calamari or whatever. Random note: Admiral Akbar can speak whale. He talks to them in the
Yep.
book. Just
He
throwing
straight up has a Dory moment in this
hat.
book.
Yep, he can talk to whales, so that throwing that out there. Well, he's like a fucking goldfish lobster man, whatever the hell he is. So I guess it's not that far fetched, but it is strange.
He's
Like,
a
are you a
Moncala.
whale? Yeah.
Yeah, he randomly he speaks whale.
Okay, great. I also love how just a side note, the generic naming of like certain things in the calamari thing is like Pisces base, Aquarius city. Like they just went with every horoscope. They were just like, whatever's
Mm-hmm.
water based, we can just use that name. Um,
Again, you have to keep in mind that the Star Wars universe, as we understand it, did not exist when these books were written. They had absolutely no idea.
right, they just made up stuff.
They just made up stuff
Got
because
it.
you could. Also, no one gave a fuck because yeah, Heir to the Empire is really super popular, but like we're not going to publish too many books about this.
Right, right, right.
We're not going to need to have this be super coherent. We can do whatever we want. Anyway,
Anyway, so we're introduced to Leviathor, I think is his name, is basically just Moby Dick. I don't know why they chose to do a white whale as the main plot point, but he's the
because
oldest
Moby
whale.
Dick,
He's the biggest whale.
he's
He's
the leader of the whales.
leader of the whales. Like,
He
okay.
rescued them from a volcanic eruption or something. I forget what the ballad at the end of the book said.
But I'm like, he's just like, but there's the whales are smart enough to be conscious, I guess, but not really. Like, I'm confused. So they're not the same as people, but they're smarter, if not the smart as people. I don't know. It was confusing because I was like,
It's because animals are very smart and we have to save the whales, Bradley.
yeah, this must have been a Save the Whales time.
This was absolutely a save the whales time. So I highly recommend our friends over at Holodeck Divas covered Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, which I made a joke about earlier. Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home has a massive save the whales subplot. And part of that is because around the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, when this book was coming out, Save the Whales was a huge environmental push
Got it.
of
That makes a
like,
lot of sense.
that was a huge environmental cause that they were really, really pushing. So it actually makes complete sense that these books for kids would be like, actually, we got to save the whales. Talk
Right.
to your parents about what they're doing to save the whales.
Right, because if this evil guy in space is doing bad things to whales, then we need to protect them too. Like it's crazy.
Exactly. It's
Um,
it's a very look, it's not a bad lesson for kids, but it is a
sure.
very ham-fisted one in this book.
It's just very
They
odd.
are not subtle.
Okay, back to Triclops, Trioculus, all this stuff. This is where it starts to get interesting because, okay, so I wrote down for chapter 6, I said, there's a part where Luke is like, oh, I remember this old Jedi rule that attack when the odds are against you. I wrote that down word for word. What the fuck, Luke? Like, what is that? That's an old Jedi rule,
That's an old Jedi.
when the
Look,
odds are against you,
when
just
odds are
attack.
against you, can you not look at me with a straight face and tell me that is not some Anakin Skywalker bullshit?
I don't know. I don't even know what's going on anymore in the plot because they've jumped around. However, they talk about the glove again, and this is where it gets interesting. So the glove has the power to choke people, supposedly.
They think that the glove has the power to choke people.
Okay. Because he can use the lightning, but he can't force choke anybody. So I was confused because I was like, wait a minute, how is he able to use lightning, but he can't force choke? And then,
Oh, is it this book?
this is where they find out, he has
Okay.
lightning implants. Yes.
Yes. And I believe this book is where I'm bringing it up because it'll be relevant to the plot of the next book. He puts little like sensors inside the fingers of the glove that like melt people's brains with sonic waves, and it looks like they're being choked
Oh, okay.
or something.
Maybe.
I
I don't
believe
know.
it's this one or early in the next one. I don't know. The two really blur together
Gotcha.
for me in that regard.
Well, also in this chapter, this is where we discover, oh, Triclops is the real son. I said,
Yes.
that's interesting. Okay. Moving on. Not sure what's happening with the glove. Need explanation. Glad the whales escaped, is what I said.
Yes.
So, I guess there's something. I think there's a line or something where he says something like, "Oh, my hand hurts" or something from the glove or some bullshit. And I think it follows into the next book. We'll talk about it in a bit when we talk about
Right.
the glove in the next book. But I think there's like a quick line in this last chapter where it's like, "Ouch, my hand hurts" or some bullshit. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening with the glove? I don't know, but that's a great tease for the next book.
For the next book, is that all your notes for the Glove of Darth Vader, Bradley?
That's all my notes. I think it would make a great Saturday morning cartoon. I just don't know if it makes a very good novel series slash movie slash whatever. I
Oh,
just think it'd
it'll
be
get
great.
wilder. The series will get wilder as we go
Okay.
on. This was the tamer installment.
I was getting that
It
vibe because
proceeds to
yeah,
get much more batshit as we go along.
I actually think out of all the plots so far, the first two books that I've read, this one is the most coherent. It is a pretty like for the most part. I mean, I don't want to say it's a perfect plot, but however, it does go from, there's a problem. We solve the problem essentially by finding the glove, and then it's like, okay, great, I'm the emperor now. Like whatever. Like that's like the whole plot basically, and it's like, okay, great.
Trioculus is the emperor. We saved the whales and we're going to celebrate. But, like,
Sure,
oh
love
no,
that.
he's still out there doing dark deeds with his dark minions, his evil ways.
So moving on, give me your
Moving on.
quick plot of the Lost City of the Jedi.
Okay. Lost City of the Jedi, the point where the series hits the accelerator on the what is happening in this plot. So Luke heads over to Cloud City because, as we mentioned in the previous book, Han Solo has decided to build Kin's Mojo Dojo Casa house in the sky for some reason. Luke visits him, and then he goes to get in his X-Wing, and his X-Wing blows up. And Han and Chewie have to like ferry him back to Yavin 4 to get treatment because, again, the headquarters of Spin is on Yavin 4 for some fucking reason. All of this is intercut where we are introduced to Ken. Ken is a 12-year-old boy who lives in a city that is entirely staffed by robots, that is underground under the surface of Yavin 4. Ken was brought there as an infant. He doesn't know anything about his past. He was brought there by a brown-robed Jedi who just randomly deposited him there and was like, y'all look after him. Bye. Ken is a weirdly well-adjusted kid for having only been around robots. We meet him and he is fanboying over Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, and he's mad that his homework got graded by his tutor, by his like teacher who broke into his house who's a droid. It's really funny, but all Ken wants is to be able to go up to the surface. So for convoluted reasons, Ken and Chip, who's like his droid that's been specifically programmed to be his best friend, go up to the surface and they meet this random healer, and they also meet Luke Skywalker, but then Ken has to be dragged by his ear back down to the lost city of the Jedi because he wasn't supposed to leave because he's fucking 12 years old, dude. Like, you can't go running around in the jungle. You're 12. Cut to Trioculus is going to meet the prophets of the dark side and their leader, Kadan. And Kadan is like eventually convinced that, like, yeah, dude, I guess you wear the glove of Darth Vader, so I will bless your emperorship or whatever. There is a Jedi Prince that will destroy you. So you do have to like get him. He's on Yavin 4. And Trioculus is like, well, shit, fuck. So the first thing he does, first thing he tries, he goes to Yavin 4 and drops a fucking death ball in the middle of a spin council meeting and is like, give me the lost city of the Jedi or I'll fucking kill all of you. And then they beat the death ball. And Trioculus is like, well, plan A didn't work. Time to revert to plan B, which is burn the entire planet down. So he also, because he keeps using the glove of Darth Vader, starts going like blind. So he's like, shit, what do we do? Oh, there's a healer that lives randomly on this planet. Let's go capture him. So they capture him. Ken also is involved in this somehow, but they capture the healer, and the healer's like, well, you gotta like eat these seeds for 100 days or you'll go blind permanently. And Trioculus is like, great, where are the seeds? And this healer's like, they're in my house that is currently on fire because you set fire to the entire planet to find the entrance to the lost city of the Jedi, you stupid motherfucker. And Trioculus is like, shit, fuck. So he runs into the building and he runs out and he gets massively burned, but he gets the seeds. And then he's like, well, I'm not using the real glove of Darth Vader anymore, even though I totally could remove the implants in the glove. I'm just not going to use the glove and make me a replica. Meanwhile, Ken meets up with the fucking cast from the movies and he takes him down to the lost city of the Jedi. And at the very start of the book, when Luke was injured, he had a vision of the lost city, and Ben Kenobi gave him a computer password. It gave him like the 6-digit code to access multi-factor authentication. So they go down and they find a weather system that's going to control the weather for the whole planet, because it turns out Yavin 4 isn't a natural occurrence. The whole planet is controlled by a weather system. So they're able to use the multi-factor authentication that Ben Kenobi's ghost gave to Luke to turn on the rain so that they can stop the fires and save the planet. Yay. But also, Trioculus does see like video of Leia and is like, damn, she's hot. I'm going to make her the queen of the empire. And that's pretty much the plot. Oh, and Ken is going to leave the lost city of the Jedi. He's going to go be like Luke's ward or something now at this point. So he's going to travel around with Luke Skywalker. And that's the plot of Lost City of the Jedi.
Somehow even more convoluted than the first one.
Somehow even more. I skipped large sections of this plot because I was like, they're really not. Ken's multiple attempts to get to the surface, which is wild.
This one, I know what they're trying to do. Like, I can see the bones of it, right? Like, I can see them, they're trying to seed something here. Like, there's something important that they're trying to, like, be like, oh, here's the stuff. Okay, I guess my first question is, why is the book called The Lost City of the Jedi when the Lost City of the Jedi is basically a non-factor of this whole entire plot, other than that's where the weather control system is at the end of this book?
Because it's a snazzy fucking title, Bradley.
I know, but it means literally nothing. Okay, so here, let's go through my notes. Okay, so starting off really strong, Han Solo is a home renovator now, and Leia is obsessed with this toxic man for no reason other
Yeah.
than she was in love with him in the last movie. I don't understand what the plot point
Yep.
of this is. Why is Han Solo like, I want to retire and build a house in Cloud City? Like, what the fuck is that? And I don't want Leia to come. I just want to do it
Yes,
myself.
he specifically like is like, I don't want Leia to like
I don't
come
want
with
kids.
me
Yeah.
yet. I don't want kids. I don't want to get married.
Yeah.
I just
And
want to build my Mojo Dojo dream house
and then
in the
Luke's like,
clouds.
"Oh, you scoundrel, you don't want kids. Like you're so Han Solo. Like what the fuck? Like that's your sister, dude. Like it's just so random." Okay, then moving on to Ken, a kid that just exists in a droid city, which I don't understand. It's like there's literally a picture where he's walking in the city with the droids, and it literally says like 123 Jedi Lane, like is this name of the
Yep,
street. Like it's like what the
yep.
fuck? Like
This
what?
book doesn't know what a Jedi is.
I don't think it
It
does.
really doesn't know what a Jedi is because like it little unclear if the Jedi built this city or
Right, because
if the Jedi found this city.
it says I said random secret Jedi city with no Jedi.
Yeah, there's no Jedi. It's all droids and Ken.
And you would think that, like, okay, if this was quote unquote, what's the title of the book? The Lost City of the Jedi, would it not make sense, like, in your brain to be like, okay, this is a city of all the Jedi who still exist, and they just have congregated to this one secret place, and they're hidden underground, and that's where they live.
When I tell you that later on, significantly later in Fate of the Jedi, there will be something called the Lost Tribe of the Sith. Do you think you could maybe hazard a guess what the Lost Tribe of the Sith is just from the name?
Is it an abandoned tribe underground of where the Sith may or may not have lived, and
They're
there's no
not
one there but a
underground
robot
per
and a little
se.
girl?
They're not underground per se, but they're very what it says on the 10. It's a
Got it.
lost group of Sith that reemerge. The Lost City of the Jedi, it's not abundantly clear, like, why it's Jedi. All we know is, like, also, they seem weirdly, like, up to date on current events, which is kind of funny to me.
No, that is
Because
okay. That's literally my next note. Okay,
they
hold
make
on.
Ken go to school
Yes.
by himself.
Uh-huh.
He has to go and write essays about the plot of the Star Wars movies, and he complains about that.
No, it makes no sense. He literally gets in trouble with his teacher, doctor, or whatever it is, droid person who grades his homework because he accidentally said that Luke Skywalker piloted the Millennium Falcon, and he gets like a B because of it or some shit. And it's like, wait, what? Like, also the fact that he knows every single plot point from the movies, how he knows this like it's history, like it didn't just happen a year ago or less, because based on what's currently happening in the plot of there's still segments of the Empire that are still there that are doing shit, that means that Return of the Jedi just fucking happened. And I don't think it would be galaxy-wide known about Luke and Han and Leia and anything they've done within the first year. I don't know if it's like a news report, like, oh, we have the list of the heroes from the thing. Like, no, like I don't think every single person in the galaxy knows this, like history-wide yet.
What's also happening like next door.
Well, that's true.
Like
Well,
this is
that's the other
happening
thing.
like on the surface
He's literally on
currently.
Yavin 4.
He's
So
literally
like
on Yavin 4. I think Ken as a character is very indicative to me of who they thought the audience for this book was supposed to be.
yes.
Because Ken is a Star Wars fanboy.
Uh-huh.
He is a boy, which is who they thought this book was going to be for. And at 12 years old, when you're a kid, ages tend to matter a lot more. Like, I tend to broadly group Bradley and I around the same age group. We're about 3 or 4 years apart. To a kid, somebody who is even just a year older feels so much older. So, like an 8-year-old, 7 or 8-year-old, is going to feel like 12 is really old, like old enough to go traveling around the galaxy and having adventure. Ken is a very interesting character that is clearly designed to appeal to exactly who the target audience for these books was supposed to be, which is 8-year-old boy.
Right. And also just two random plot points, by the way. He's in his room, and in the picture depicted in the book, you can see an X-Wing and a TIE fighter hanging from the ceiling. How he knows about those two things battling each other, I don't know. The second thing is he randomly has like a dog parrot thing, like I guess animal creature, whatever.
Yes, he randomly has a pet.
Yeah, he has a random pet that species of thing I've never heard of before or seen in Star Wars. Also, he fucking leaves it behind for the plot of the book. So he goes like, "Fuck off!" Like I'm going to the surface, and he leaves his dog to fend for itself, I guess. Or hopefully the droids will take care of it for him. I don't know, but he just fucks off with it. So I don't know why he even has the dog parrot because wouldn't he just bring it with him and be like a companion? Like no, he brings his droid instead,
He brings his droid. Well,
who's
no, his
also
droid sneaks onto the turbo lift
right.
when he goes up to the surface. The first time he's just going to go up completely alone, and Chip manages to get in and is like, this is incredibly irregular.
Also,
Also, Ken is a dick to Chip.
well, yeah, because I think he's just annoying. But like Chip's not the one that okay, so they all have different functions, right? Like there's three different droids that Chip or that Ken has. One is his like teacher or the guy who grades his tests is like one of his
Who
droids.
sneaks into his room at night to grade his essays before they're finished.
Correct. Then you have Chip, which I guess is like some kind of companion nanny droid thing, right?
Chip is programmed to be his best friend.
Okay. Is that the one that
He is
looks
programmed
like a
to,
little boy?
yeah,
Or
he's
okay.
programmed to act exactly like someone's Ken's age.
Okay, great. And then there's a random one that I don't even remember because I feel like that one's not irrelevant.
DJ, who is
DJ.
the droid that is broadly in charge of this whole thing.
Right. So three random droids for no reason when they all could have just been one character. But I'm going to ignore that plot hole that you could just combine all those things if you're a droid. But they all have to have their own purpose, I guess. Moving on to when Luke runs into Ken, and Luke immediately, after having this random vision from Obi-Wan Kenobi about a lost city of the Jedi, runs into Ken in the middle of the forest and goes, "You wouldn't happen to be from a lost city of the Jedi, would you?" And Ken's like, "Oh my God, it's Luke Skywalker from all my school lessons. What the
Oh my
fuck?"
God, it's Luke Skywalker from the Star Wars movies.
From the Star Wars movies that I've never seen. So yeah, I don't know about that part of the book is interesting. And then we randomly jump to the Trioculus part, which Slay, I love how he's just like,
Despite
I'm gonna go talk to the secret prophet dark side people who admittedly we find out are just the ISB.
yeah, they're just the ISB.
They're not magic at all.
They have an intelligence network.
Right.
That's how Kadan does his
stuff.
like dark prophet stuff.
Right.
Is he's just a really good spy master, which is an incredible concept. I
wish they would actually take this and use this somewhere else because I do actually like the idea of, oh, we use dark magic and stuff to like figure out our shit. And then you find out, oh no, they're just spying on people and then just making things happen by bribing people and doing stuff like to come out, make it look like they're telling the future.
Despite the really unfortunate ways that this book refers to Kadan, which I'm going out of my way to not describe this character, because some of the word choice that they use is pretty problematic. That aside, the scene where Trioculus, and there's this whole other character named Hissa, Grand Moff Hissa, who has pointy teeth.
For some reason. Yeah.
Also, there's a random Moff in the first book that has laser gun. The Moffs are very gay coded in these books. Trioculus and Hissa go to visit Kadan, and they have this whole scene with the prophets of the dark side. Kind of the best part of the book. Because it is a really interesting concept for like right to divine rule. How do you win over the clergy? Also, what does the clergy in the empire actually look like? What does the state religion of the empire actually look like? Because it's not the Sith. It's these fucking guys in their dark, sparkly cloaks swanning about their palace of artifacts, doing prophecies and spycraft. Kadan is such a drama queen too, because he like has his little chalk balls.
Yeah.
That when he wants to indicate something, he picks up his chalk ball and crushes it, and it like dissolves into trash. You can't just say you're fucking lying.
Right. He's like, I know you're lying. Just kidding. I can prove it by showing you the color of the chalk. Like, what?
I have pulled out my dissolving brown ball and just crushed it in my hand. It's like
crazy.
He's so funny. I love the prophets of the dark side. They're so hilarious.
So they kind of like ignore all that and they're like, okay, fine, you're the emperor, whatever. Like it is what it is. Uh,
Technically, you wear the glove
right.
of Darth Vader, so sure, motherfucker, why not?
Yeah, why not, right? So then they move on to the whole burning the planet bullshit. So we get introduced early on to the random alien character. I forget his name.
It's Bati or something. I
Bati.
didn't write any of this
I
down, and
didn't.
I
Oh
didn't
yeah, I don't
remember
write
his
any of the
name.
names down.
But he speaks entirely in verse.
Yeah, he speaks in like some kind of poetry prose or something for some reason. He always rhymes, which is hilarious, but I also is just so obnoxious. He's just randomly introduced, and then in the back half of the book, we find out he's the healer, and you're like, oh, Trioculus needs him because the glove is killing him. So let's go talk. So this is my problem with the plot. Trioculus finds out, like, okay, I'm going blind. What's going on? And then the random alien healer person is like, oh, well, you're wearing the glove of Darth Vader and it's killing you. So I'm gonna heal you by telling you to take it off. And then they're like, that sounds like that's too much. I don't think that's right.
That
But you know
sounds like
what?
work.
Right. And then he does take it off, and his hand looks like mangled and burned for some reason. And you're like, okay, so the glove is literally destroying him somehow. That's great. How do I fix it? Well, you take this special medicine. Where's the special medicine? In the burning building. Okay, I'm gonna go get it. So Trioculus goes into the burning building and burns half of his face off to get these magic pills that the alien is prescribing for him to not go blind. So that's kind of like a plot point, I guess, because they're making a point to be like he's disfigured now and gross. And
He's disfigured right at the point he became super horny for Leia.
okay, this is the other part that doesn't make any sense. He's literally like, "Oh, I'm gonna try to blow up the other people and like I'm gonna spy on them." And then he looks, he's like, "Wait, stop everything. Leia's hot. I need some of that." And like the literally
Literally
the
what
Grand Moff is
happened.
like the Grand Moff is like, she's like a rebel. Like you don't want her. Like she's her mind is poisoned. She thinks like about
Honestly,
freedom and stuff.
one of the other better parts of this book is the evil gay bestie energy that Grandma
Yeah.
Pissa is serving every time he speaks. I read ahead to the third book just earlier this afternoon, and he will have another scene where he does this,
Love.
where he's just like evil and slay and gay all at the same time with his little pointy teeth. It's so fucking funny.
And then I want to end our conversation with the sheer fact that the entire plot of this book depended on Obi-Wan Kenobi giving a ridiculous fucking password to Luke Skywalker in a dream where he was like, oh shit, at the end, I don't remember the password. Search my feelings. I know the password. And then types in Jedi Force password. Like it's literally the password is like spells out Jedi Force in like numbers. Like what? Okay, that's whatever. And then also the random fact that we find out that Yavin 4 was never a rainforest and that the Jedi somehow turned it into a rainforest by using weather machines. Anyway, so that's the plot of the Jedi City
Lost City of
book.
the Jedi.
Yep, and I can't
Yep.
imagine where this book series is going because Jesus
So
Christ.
I want to point out before we move too far to our final thought. So the entire plot of this series is largely that there is a resurgent empire that has emerged with a successor to the emperor, and that we are introduced to a young person. In this case, it is an actual child who has been living kind of alone and isolated after being dropped off in this random location after they bring up several times that this character's parentage is a mystery, and at the end of the book this character flies away in the Millennium Falcon. What does that sound like, Bradley?
Sounds like a plot of a story we've already heard.
Yeah, so Ken is pretty much Ray.
Yeah, got it.
Ken is Ray if Ray was a 12-year-old boy.
Understood.
This is very similar to the plot of The Force Awakens.
I feel that.
This is when I was sort of laughing. I was laughing particularly when I thought that the Death Star the Death Star 2 ruins had moved to a different planet, like a system entirely, that it had wormholed somewhere. When I originally saw the Rise of Skywalker trailer, and I was like, oh my God, they're doing the glove of Darth Vader. And they kind of do low key do the glove of Darth Vader. and Lost City of the Jedi. But yeah, these have a lot of similarities to the sequel film.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, some of the plot elements, Han Solo just kind of fucking off to do his own thing.
Right.
Yep, I'm just saying there's some plot elements that are similar.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to throw all the characters in and they just didn't know how to use them all. And they were just kind of like, well,
I can tell you by the end of book 3, they still have not figured, well, they've just figured out how they're going to use Han Solo.
Got it. Okay, cool.
In this plot.
Love that.
Yeah, so we had Save the Whales, and then we have Don't Burn Down the Rainforest to find the Lost City of the Jedi's entrance.
I just realized that it's Don't Burn Down the Rainforest.
It's Don't Burn Down the Rainforest.
God damn it.
So we're doing another one, Bradley.
So what is the next book? What is going to be is there another one?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
there's
great.
another one.
And the next
book will also do this.
Let's see if I can figure it out. What the next thing is.
If I tell you that the majority of the book takes place on Bespin, would that give you a clue as to what we're going to be doing for book 3?
I swear to God, if it's like something about greenhouse gases or like don't pollute the air, I'm gonna lose it.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Damn it.
We'll get there. I'm loving this. I'll launch you a final thought. Part of the fun of doing these books is really to force Bradley to do it. These are books for 8-year-old children and 8-year-old boys in 1992. Like,
yeah,
they're not meant to be taken seriously. They're not meant to be read by adults in their 30s. But I'm going to make Bradley do it anyway because it's funny. It makes me laugh. And I know where this plot is going.
I honestly could not guess at this point. I genuinely can't tell, other than the fact that they basically teased in this book, like, hey, Trioculus, if you don't go fucking kill the Jedi Prince, you're gonna die. So other than that, I mean, which is basically obviously what it is, but other than that, I can't quite tell what else is happening here, other than that's just, we're trying to get there somehow in the next couple books. Also the fact that they definitely teased the last book in this, where they say, I'm going to make Leia the Queen of the Empire, which I think is the last
There is a
novel in
later
this book.
book called Queen of the Empire.
Got it.
That is indeed where part of this plot is going.
Okay. Love that.
They're going to try to make her the queen.
Can't wait to see where that goes. Okay.
We're going to see how this works. And you thought we would not have enough content for a full episode for 2 of these books.
I swear to God. I'm glad we didn't do 3.
Mm-hmm. What 2 books in this series are we covering next week, Bradley?
Let's check Wikipedia because I definitely don't know. Okay, so the next one is called Zorba the Hutt's Revenge. Okay. A random
You want to take a
character we
wild
don't
guess
know.
what that one's about?
Another random character we don't know. Amazing. Followed by Mission from Mount Yoda. Okay. Another random thing that I'm like, sure, let's go. I'm sure next week will be great.
I'm sure next week's going to be super
enlightening and fun and amazing. So
super fun. Do you have anything else on the Glove of Darth Vader and the Lost City of the Jedi, or do you want to be as far away from these books as possible?
No, I'm good. I don't want to read anymore right now. I need a few days off.
Pluggables. Bradley does a lot of reality TV. It is what pays his bills and keeps him continuing to make this show. Please consider watching such shows as Married to Medicine, Queen's Court, King's Court, The Circle. You can also watch Temptation Island, I guess, like if you want to. Bradley's just giving me a look in the camera like, I'm not doing this bit with you this week. I'm not in the mood for it. You can find me at a whole host of places that I'm going to speed run. I'm a cast member on the Star Wars TTRPG podcast for Light and Dice. New episodes are currently coming out. Please check out that show if you like TTRPGs and you like the High Republic. I also have a series of queer mystery thriller novels. Those are called Beach House Studios. They are currently available on Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, and you can request them through your library through Overdrive. Book 4 news is coming out very soon. You can also find me involved in Legacy Expo, which is a Star Wars fan-run EU convention that is in Burbank, California, September 13th through 14th. So that is coming up. Tickets are available on sale online now. Go to legacyexpo.com. All right, Bradley, are you regretting this yet?
Yep.
Run the socials. Thank you for listening to Gold Squadron Gaze. Did Charles fuck something up? Email us at goldsquadrongaze@gmail.com and let us know. You can follow us on BlueSky, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Gold Squadron Gaze. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Gold Squadron Gaze, where we post full episodes of this podcast. If you like the podcast, you can also rate us and review us on your favorite podcast app of choice. Please join us next week and every week for another episode of Gold Squadron Gaze.